so that the direction of the picture is in the script. Everything is in the script.
Now, I'd love to hear more about kind of what your writing process is. And then Danielle, we can start with you again, because, some people need like a quiet room, others need to be listening to music, others is at night, others is in the morning. Everybody is really different. So I always love to ask this question. So Danielle, what do you feel, at least, with Marbles, that you felt is kind of like your zone where you can tap in and just start writing? What does that look like for you?
I feel like I'm kind of a mixture of everything. It's kind of like depends on the day. But I really like having soundtrack music on to like Disney specific type movies, Pixar movies. So just the soundtrack part of it, that's really calming for me. And I'm able to like work and get inspired by the music. But there are days when I just want nothing going on. I just want quiet, lights kind of dimmed. But then there are other days where I want like a movie on in the background or something. So it really just depends. So
Oh, interesting. Very cool. Samantha, what about you? What's kind of your, how do
Well,
you
I have to have complete quiet. I just can't have any distractions because, it's so easy to just procrastinate if I'm distracted. I don't walk out of my bedroom. Actually, I have an office which I'm in at the moment, but I tend to write on the bed with a laptop tray, where there is, if I'm in the office, there's things to distract me. So. And that's also better for my cat because she can then come and sit next to me on the bed, and she doesn't get as fussy. She likes to sit next to me while I'm working, and I kind of work first thing in the morning, so I'm very lucky to be able to do this full time now. So it's first thing. As soon as I wake up, I'm on my computer, I'm warming my brain up, and then I'm just like writing as much as I can all day. I try and I have a race with myself to see how many words I can type that day.
Wow.
So
And
my
you write
most
hours? Just
hours and hours. Once I've done the first couple of hours, I can have a little break and go and get drinks or food or whatever if I need. But I'm okay then. It's that morning time. I have to get myself in the right headspace, if that makes any sense, because you kind of have. You do have to get into a zone, don't you? That's the thing. You do have to get into a zone, and that's me, especially novel writing. You really do have to, get right into that world. So another trick I've got is when I'm finishing writing for the day, I kind of finish in the middle of some action. So I won't finish a chapter. I will finish right in the middle of something happening, so that it's easy to pick up the next day and help me get right back in the right frame again. Right frame of mind. So it's one of my little tricks.
is that something you kind of picked up like through the years of writing, that you're like, okay, what's gonna get me to get up tomorrow and keep writing?
Absolutely. And, also not going down rabbit holes for research. I do still do that sometimes. I find myself doing it, but I've learned the trick of research this in bold and carry on with the story, and then go back when I'm editing to make sure that I've got my facts straight.
Oh my God, I would live in a rabbit hole. I was just like,
That's
oh,
it. It's too easy.
and then just get so lost.
I'd never get any work done if I didn't do that. So.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And I think when I'm not a writer, so it's like when I don't think about those little things that, writers really have to be so disciplined with something as simple as like, you have to research, but if you don't have the discipline to not, like you're saying, not go down the rabbit hole, then you'll never get anything done. So that's a really fascinating kind of little note.
You have to have as well, sort of like a lot of stamina, mental stamina, but that doesn't come overnight. You have to build up. I often say that you don't go to the gym and start lifting heavy weights straight away. With the creative muscles, the same thing, isn't it? You have to build up that muscle. You have to work on it, and then it becomes easier. And I say that, and every single book I start is still hard until I get to the 30,000 word mark, and then I'm okay. I'm okay. It's always the beginning.
Do you have to because when you go to the gym before you start lifting weights, you have to like warm up? Like, do you is there like a writing warm up, I guess you could say, before you start like putting words to paper? Or is it just like you've been dreaming about this because you left at a cliffhanger, so you could just wake up?
I do that too. I mean, generally, it's sort of I usually read about the last chapter that I did and edit it and tweak it and move forward as a warm up, but I try not to. If I've written several chapters, because my usual daily word count is around 3,000 to 5,000 words a day. So I try not to read it all back, because that's the job for when I come to do the final edit, when I'll go over all of it. But that last little bit just reminds you what mindset you were in and what part of the world you were in it. So it does work for me, that. If I edit too much, I never get any further as well. So that's why I don't do that, because you keep going back and you never get forward. So it's
Yeah.
best just to get to the end and then
Especially with
edit
a
afterwards.
novel. A novel, is
Yeah,
so different from like a script, where a novel is just, especially these like big, 30,000 word novels. I feel like it requires a specific kind of discipline, to a balancing act, of your time and
definitely. And with
hours.
screenwriting, I do write filmically anyway. So novel wise, prose wise, it's very filmic, and it is a bit like you guys will be seeing. This camera is going off in my head, and I can see the pictures unfolding, and I just then translate them into words.
Wow.
But it is very much like that for me, the process. So
I love that. Very cool. Thanks, Samantha. And
uh,
Lily, what has been, with this script, what's been your process writing it? Do you feel like this is going to be, the process that you found going to be the one moving forward, or do you want to like experiment with different kind of, writing process? Is it going to be at night? Is it going to be in the morning? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I feel like my process has been changing a lot in terms of like trying to become more disciplined about like getting something done on paper every day, even if it's only like a paragraph or like a scene, like just something. And usually I find like the best time for me to write is in like the mid to late afternoon, like before dinner, because I feel like once I've eaten dinner, I'm like, I'm done for the day.
Mm.
But it's like I gotta stay hungry, keep going. And I think with like music, I always have like a playlist that I've made that like captures the vibe of what I'm working on. So that it's like really easy for me to like drop into that mindset. And I also usually make like a Pinterest board with like the
Oh,
energy of what
mhm.
I'm writing. So that especially with like screenplays, they're so visual. It helps me to have something that I'm like physically looking at that is like, how can I capture these images in like words? And then that is also super helpful when it comes time to like actually making it, having like sort of a mood board for what it should look like and what it should feel like. Um, and I just feel like I'm like writing kind of all day, especially when I'm really deep in a project and I'm really excited about it. I'll like hear snippets of a conversation in the grocery store and I'll be like, oh, that sounds like something this character could say to that
Mhm.
character, like, or anything that happens to me. I'm like, how could I use that in this scene over here? And then I'm like always writing little notes on my phone. So it's like great at the end of the day, then go back, look at what I've written down and be like, okay, what of this can I actually use?
Wow, interesting.
So that the direction of the picture is in the script. Everything is in the script.